Okay, I thought I would do a little bit of a catch up just to chat naturally, not have a specific topic in mind. This is more like a live, just to have some girl time with you ladies, because I do know there are some of you, thank you, that do sort of follow along with my journey. And if you would remember, I have said I would like to be down to like 51 kgs by Christmas. That has not happened. It hasn't happened. I'm 53.5 today, I think. So in fact, I've gone up in weight, but that's okay. We were away. Why is the lighting changing? Hold on one second. I'm going to turn off that one light. I was watching another YouTuber who said you should just have the window light and turn all the lights off in the room. So hopefully that makes it better. So yeah, we were away. I had the best ribs I've ever eaten in my whole life when we were away at this very unassuming restaurant, but you didn't even need a knife and a fork. You could pull the meat off the bone. They were so delicious. And then yesterday was my partner's Christmas office party, and we were out at a pub. I didn't drink, and I had an ice bein, which they make a really good one at this pub, and there is a lot of fat in it. I try and not eat the fatty parts, but I mean, the fat sort of soaks into the ice bein. Sorry, it's been a hot day and my hair is just doing its thing. So I had that yesterday, and then I craved chocolate. So I had, I'm going to say 80 grams of pure chocolate, top deck. So I've just not, I didn't want to restrict. I just felt like this week I needed a break. I didn't really go to gym. I ran today, which was amazing again. After a night's rest, when my legs are fresh and springy, I just ran it felt like I ran like a 20-year-old. So it was beautiful. I love that feeling. And if you have watched my video on not drinking, so I haven't been drinking for about a week now. And I've sort of made the decision that I think I'm over alcohol. It's just a personal decision. I'm not judging you if you still enjoy the odd drink or many drinks. I've certainly done it, so I'm not judging. But for me, the decision has been not to drink. And I think after the weekend away and the night out, it's sort of taken me. So that was Friday, and then I didn't drink since then. And it's taken me until this Friday to feel fully back to baseline, basically. That's a week. Now, I don't know if it's totally due to that night out and the alcohol, but I do think the older I get, the less my body tolerates alcohol. So I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if you guys also feel the same. So anyway, I think Monday I went to gym, or Sunday, I can't remember, but I haven't been to gym this week, and I've just been resting, and I've needed the rest. My son is away with his dad, so there's been no need to do a routine. There's been no need to like wake up and do the school drop off. And I needed, like I had 1 or 2 days of doing nothing. And it is so vital. I encourage you, if you can, if you have the opportunity, take a day where you don't even get out of your pajamas, you don't get dressed, you don't put on makeup, shower if you want to. You don't even get out of bed. Try not to watch TV, even try not to watch YouTube. I tried for the most part to stay off social media, just read a book, and it was so nice. And my batteries were just recharged. So I just have to explain, if this side of my face is now looking lame, it's because I went to my usual lip doctor lady who does lip filler, and we put a drop of Botox here, but it's taken. It's really strong. So now that side is a little bit lame. We're trying to correct the last bit of palsy that I have. So this side still needs to come back online. So yeah, anyway, it's pretty much there. Anyway, so my smile is still squonky and wonky for now. So that explains that. So I just felt like sharing that I am on this, you will see with my videos that are coming out, I am on this no alcohol journey. Not that I'm, like I say, I'm not a black and white thinker or drinker or non-drinker. If I have one in the future, it's not the end of the world. I'm not counting days because I don't suffer with alcohol What is the correct term now? Alcohol abuse disorder or misuse disorder, whatever. I mean, I'm what I would consider one of the lighter drinkers in my friend group. Most of them know I don't drink a lot, but sometimes I do. I mean, sometimes, the party has taken me. And so, but all along, I've never wanted to. Even when I was young, you kind of get into it because everyone does it. It's socially acceptable, especially in like later high school. And then in Greece, when I was in Greece, my boyfriend was quite a heavy drinker. So I would drink to keep up. He was a Serbian. He hung out with a Russian. It was a mixed bag of, there was a Polish guy. There was a Dutch girl, my best friend in Greece. So we were a mixed bag, and me, the South African, mixed bag of foreigners living in Greece, although I am half Greek. And the drinking was heavy. I mean, you know what the Russians are like. So we would sit and drink until the wee hours of the morning. And I tried to keep up. I mean, this tiny little girl, and I didn't know that it was wrong. I didn't think it was bad for my health. I'd never heard anyone say that this could be bad for you. It could be damaging your brain. It could be, I mean, I knew it was a poison because when I was very young as a teenager, after school ended the one term, me and my friends got hold of some alcohol, and I got probably alcoholic poisoning because I was vomiting, blacked out. I was too young and I didn't know what I was doing. And so I knew it was a poison, but I thought, well, it's a poison when you do it to that extreme. But I never really realized all the health implications until now, until the Huberman podcast came out, and then until I've watched the Dr. Rhonda Patrick 3-hour podcast. And then you realize, shit, there is no safe amount. Because you always hear, oh, in moderation, it's fine. In moderation, it's fine. And I always thought, well, if I'm drinking less than everyone else, then I must be moderate. But you don't realize that everyone, the whole world, in fact, is drinking to excess. And I always thought I was moderate because I was always having water in between. I was always saying no to the extra shooter and no to this and no. And I'm saying, let's go home. And never I never was the one to start the drinking. I never wanted to. I don't like day drinking. I've never enjoyed that feeling because it kind of makes me feel sleepy. And now there's bright light and it's just not the thing that I enjoy. So for me, it is more of a nighttime social thing. It's more of a nightclub thing. It's more of actually for me, it's always been a dancing thing. Drink, dance, and then go home. So I've always thought I was moderate until you hear that a binge is considered like 4 or 5 drinks. And I'm like, well, that's very little for a night out. If you think of a night out over 4 or 5 hours of dancing, I could easily have had 6, 7, I don't know. And a drink is considered a unit, which is small. So, when you hear all the science and how dangerous alcohol really is, it scares you. It scared me. And I was kind of relieved in the back of my mind. I always wanted to be sober. And I know that sounds weird, but I always wanted sobriety and never thought that I could. Never thought I was allowed to choose it. And I know that sounds weird, but in our modern Western pushy with the drink society, I always thought, well, everyone around me is just doing it socially. It's how we relax. It's how we celebrate. It's how we mark the end of a day. It's how we mark a weekend. It's how we do birthdays. It's how we do everything. So I always thought, well, I'll be the weird one if I don't, and I'll just be the moderate one. But I always would have rather not. And then when you hear like there's actually no safe amount, really, I was like, oh, okay. There is logical, solid, scientific evidence and reasoning for me to actually say no. Maybe I just needed to hear it. And I've always fantasized about a sober life. It's so weird, I know. And I thought, why am I not just giving myself permission? Even now, recently, I've like played cat and mouse with being sober. Like, I'm not going to drink, then I'll try it again. No, I won't. And then I'll try again, have 1 or 2 here or there. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with going periods sober and then having a little bit everyone needs to walk this path for themselves. But for me, I just thought it's actually going to be easier. It's going to be more relieving to just say mostly 99.99% no. And not even mostly. I'm going to say no, but if I do ever have, I'm not going to berate myself or self-flagellate or say like I did a wrong thing, because I'm not a problem drinker. But I realized it's actually going to be more relieving for me to just be, I don't drink. And that is my new identity. I never took it on as an identity until like this very week, where I also read a book by a wonderful author. She's really good. If you are this hashtag sober curious, that's what I like and hate about social media. They create these catchwords, but I think it's a good one, sober curious, meaning you start to play around with sobriety. Anyway, if you are sober curious, read her book. Although she was a problem drinker, an alcoholic, she is very non-judgmental in her book. And if you even just would like to cut back on drinking, you will relate. She's so relatable. She writes so well. Anyway, like I say, I'm not a problem drinker. I'm not an alcoholic. I've never abused it, other than I've quote unquote binge drank because I didn't know that binge drinking meant more than 4 or 5 in a night, but turns out it is. Therefore, I have. But her book was so good. It just made me realize, why am I stuffing around with just seeing how it goes, seeing how I feel? If I feel like one, I'll decide in the moment. Why don't I make that decision for myself now? Like preemptively decide I am going to say no, because I know I will feel better every time when I don't drink, and I feel worse every time when I do. Look, 1 glass of champagne didn't make me feel bad. It was nice and relaxing, but in general, the problem is I do 1 glass, I'm fine. The next week, I do 1 glass, I'm fine. The next time, I'm having 2 glasses. The next time, I'm like, woohoo, let's go party. So even me, a moderate drinker, falls into that thing where it just gets more and more and more. So I realize I need to take on the identity of I no longer drink. Just for me, I'm not judging anyone. If you still enjoy it and want to keep it in your life, I understand. I understand there is a feeling, there is a feeling that it gives you. It's usually only with that first drink, and unfortunately that is a problem, is that feeling, it's hard to hold on to it and capture it. And even I've thought in the last sort of 2 years, like, I wish I could just have that feeling again. The woohoo, I don't know what it is, that rush as you just start getting tipsy. It's melty, it's warm, it's inviting. But because it's so fleeting, it's that magic moment between one drink and number 2. It's not worth it to me to even go there, because generally I tend towards headaches. Generally I tend towards feeling lethargic the next day. And as you've seen now, as I've seen, it's taken me a whole week to come right. So it's not worth it for me. But I am dedicated to finding that feeling in myself through natural ways. And I found it today with my run, because I was so well rested. I had rested this whole week. I ran, and I didn't intend to run. I thought, I'm just going to jog. I'm just going to take it slow, ease back in. My legs felt so good. My breathing was brilliant. I don't know, sometimes you have a good day and a bad day, or I don't know if it's just because you've over-exercised and you strain. You have a bad day, but when you're rested, it just flows. Today it flowed. The weather was good, and that run was better than any drug high I've ever had. And yes, I have tried a few things, not many and not a lot, but I'm not that personality who wants to keep on with, okay, so I've tried MDMA, ecstasy, but again, it's, for me, maybe I'm just lucky that my brain chemistry or my childhood, or I don't know what it is that drives people to crave more and more of these experiences. But for me, life, and I know I sound like an old boring old lady, but life itself is my drug of choice, especially like a good run, a good exercise session. It's just, today I was just, oh, it was so good. It was so good. And so if I can encourage you, use exercise. Use it for what it's intended. Well, I feel like it's God intended purpose is to give us that feeling. And try and let your mind go quiet, which is the other beauty of running. For me, walking, your mind can still chatter, although you can let your mind go quiet and empty with a good walk. But and if you can't run, obviously don't run. If your knees hurt or your hips hurt, do what you can. You can do weight training. Sometimes with weight training as well, I get a feeling, it's different to a run, but I get this feeling when my muscles are strong, I'm pushing hard, I'm in the zone. And it's quite a unique thing for a female. I think women generally who stay away from weights, they won't understand it. But you get this feeling of strength. And it's muscles pushing against the weight, but it gives you this mental, internal feeling of I am capable, I am strong, I can do life. And that's why I enjoy weight training. It's why I go back to weight training all the time. I can never give it up as much as I enjoy other things. And I mean, if you remember, if you've been with me on this channel for a while, I did try and give up gym. I quit for a bit and then I reinstated my gym membership because I actually felt something was missing. It was like a limb had been cut off or a part of me was gone. And yes, it was good to explore life without gym, like a new identity. Who am I without my gym membership? But I realized I like it. It is my identity. And in the same way, like if you want to lose weight, you need to take on the identity of a slimmer person, the identity of somebody who makes mostly healthier food choices. You need to take on the identity of somebody who portion controls. In that same way, I am now taking on the identity of somebody who lives a sober life. No alcohol. Well, I haven't had drugs for years. Well, not too long ago, I did one little foray into something, but again, it was like, it taught me like, nah, not for me. So no drugs, no alcohol. I have never smoked in my life, thank goodness. No weed. I'm just not into those things. And again, no judgment. If you want to dabble or it's for you, then you do you. I always say you do you, but I'm here to tell you that the best feelings come from a crystal clear head when you are as healthy as you can get yourself to be, eating as, I mean, mostly well. You don't have, I don't believe you need to be like so strict, but eat mostly well, have one or two fun foods, exercise mostly, but don't overdo it. Moderation in all things. Even with the exercise, 5 days a week is plenty. I sometimes do 6 because I love it, but it's not I don't want to make anyone feel like they need to go balls to the wall. I think that is a recipe for burnout. But if you are moderately healthy, exercise, and clear-minded, sober, you can feel amazing most days. And that is life. That is what life is meant to be. And I know there's always stresses and stressors on us. So the last skill would be to learn how to meditate or deep breathe or just relax or go for a massage. All that money that you would have spent on booze, use it and go for massages. All that money you would have spent on booze, do a meditation retreat. All that money you would have spent on partying, on whatever the bad habit is that you want to drop, on all the junk food. Take it and reward yourself with something healthy. There's an idea. It's actually something I want to do this year because with not drinking, you know, you save money, but you don't, or at least I don't, you don't sort of sit and calculate, well, wow, I've actually saved a couple of $1,000 this year. And then like you just don't think about it. But this year, I am going to consciously reward myself with one or two proper massages as my reward to me for my new identity And honestly, I don't, like, I've socialized now twice. My partner's Christmas function yesterday, as I mentioned, my best friend's surprise birthday party. Everyone was drinking, and okay, at the Christmas function, there was one other person not drinking. I socialized better. And I realized again, it's a mindset shift. Before, I used to feel like, oh, am I going to be awkward? Then you are awkward because you're thinking about being awkward. And are they going to judge me? And what if they ask what I'm drinking? How do I answer? And how do I say no? And what words do I use to say, no, I'm not drinking? Those are the words. You just say, I'm not drinking, or no, thank you, or not tonight, or I'm driving, or I'm on antibiotics, or you can come up with any combination of words that you feel you can say to that person for why you're not drinking. Or you can just say, I'm trying out being sober, or whatever. You can say anything. But I realized the awkwardness was inside of me, feeling awkward, not drinking, because I thought, well, alcohol means socializing. Alcohol means I can speak easier to people. But what I've just realized, ta-da, and I'm so glad I had that, like it clicked for me, was it actually dulls everything. And you, like, after 2 or 3 drinks, you're like, ugh, sometimes you can't even get your words out. Whereas when you're sober, all the words are there. You can speak freely. And it's like, duh, of course. I have no problem speaking to my friends. I have no problem speaking to a camera. Sober, I have no problem speaking to my family. So why do I think in a social setting like out, I need this thing to be able to talk? I can talk to people all the time, every day. And so it was just in my mind. And the same thing goes with the dancing. And I have done it before. So why do I let it hold me back? I don't know. So going forward this year, my new experiment and experience will be, if there's a gathering, if there's a party, if there's a wedding, if there's anything where there's music and dancing, let's see how I go. I really am excited for this new identity. I'm putting it on like a jacket, like I'm the girl that doesn't drink. And that's who I am for this new season of my life. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I think it's just going to take that weight off my mind, knowing that it's just who I am now. And I invite you, like I say, if there's anything you want to give up, cigarettes, marijuana, junk food, I don't know, whatever it is, take on a new identity as that new person. It will be so helpful. In fact, it's a whole video that I want to make on, and I shall make it, on how your identity does need to change. But I mean, I'm just telling you here now, your identity needs to change. If you've been overweight your whole life, you may always see yourself as that. And even I thought I was that. In high school, I was chubby from the age of like 15 right through to about the age of 18, 19. And those are formative years. So 15, 16, 17, 18, you kind of form an identity of, okay, I'm a little bit, wasn't obese, a little bit chubby, not the most pretty girl. And that was my identity until I had to like reframe and see myself in a new light. It happened because I lost the weight and I was like, oh, I can lose the weight. But then the new identity came, but I still battle with it. Still to this day, I see myself as that awkward, plain Jane, kind of chubby girl often when I look in the mirror. So I know that our old high school identities, or the identities we form around certain experiences, they can stick with us and they're hard to break. I know they're hard to break, but just try on a new one for size. Who would you be if you were at your goal weight? Who would you be? What actions would you take if you were free of alcohol, free of cigarettes, free of XYZ? And try that out and see if that works. So I just wanted to touch base with you ladies and have a heart to heart before Christmas. And yeah, I'm probably going to go into Christmas not at the weight I hope, but who cares? Who cares? Life just carries on. I will just carry on with my routines and enjoy my Christmas day. I I hope you guys enjoy it too, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, ladies.